Moving quickly right along, we are at named constants with this one. Remember that a named constant is a representation of a number that we know is going to be important to the execution of our program. So here, our named constant is months in a year, and we are saying that there are 12 of them and that it is an integer value. Hours in a day, we are saying that there are 24 of them and that they are integer in value. So here, we've got on line number 7, our system.out. There are, and remember there's that extra space inside of the double quotation marks because we would like it to be outputted properly, months in a year. And then this plus does not mean addition here. This plus is the plus operator, which means drop more in my output window. So here we go. What we would expect to see is there are 12 months in a year. So here on line number 9, before I go ahead and run this, I'll go ahead and run this, but I'll explain what's happening here. We can do math with a named constant. So we can do math with variables. So months in a year plus equals 1. So what we're saying here is months in a year, which is 12, equals months in a year plus 1. So that's going to be 13. So here we go. We have system.out.println. Now there are 13 months in a year. So aside from that one Simpsons episode, and I will admit to you, The Simpsons is oddly prescient and gets all of the future right, no matter how bleak and dismal it seems to be. But how do we prevent somebody from changing the fact that there are 12 months in a year? So how can we prevent that? The way we can prevent that is with the keyword final. I am 2 signed in. At any rate, I am 2 signed in. So we can fork that. Forking just means make a copy and leave the original alone. So I'll go ahead and retype that. Final. You can tell it's correct because it's in blue like that. Now, the final is going to tell us that we cannot change the value of this named constant 12. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and this is the value of final is as Java is running through and compiling and running inside of the virtual machine, our little block of code here, it is going to come across this line number 9, and it's going to say and it's going to explode, and it's going to tell you that there's an error and it will not run. Now I'll tell you, that is a value to you as a developer. There are going to be times where you do not want to give somebody the opportunity to change a number. You do not want somebody to change the value of pi. You do not want somebody to change the number of months in a year. So what we see here is an idea of what has gone wrong. And it says main.java line number 9. Yep, that scans. Cannot assign a value to a final variable months in a year because it's final. So what the compiler is telling us is you stepped in it. You cannot assign a value to final. So the compiler really does a great job of telling you where and what went wrong. And for the most part, it's going to be a simple fix. Oh yeah, those are final. We can't do that. So either I have to comment out this line. So remember, a comment is control or command / depends if you are on a Windows or a Mac. Or I would have to go through and change lines number 4 and 5 from final to not final. So if I run it again and we give it some time, it's really slow today. Usually it will not take this long for you to run and test your code. I promise you that. There we go. Because I commented out line number 9, these are still final, but I didn't break any rules. This was able to compile and to run and to make its output. So that is the final keyword, but that's also a word on learning to read the compiler and the errors in the compiler, because it gives you literally a line number and usually a position, so like a place to start looking also.